I've actually known Katie-Jeyn for over 12 years now. I started working in the mining sector straight out of school. I was 19 years old and I went to my first mine site doing fly in, fly out, whereas one of 3 women. So I've had an interesting career to date, and now having spent nearly 20 years in the mining industry, I've moved into working in a non-for-profit environment in the health sector and now into an executive role in the Northern Territory Government. The coaching program is something that I choose to do for me. So this isn't about Katie-Jeyn setting me homework and me not doing my homework. It's actually everything that she asks me to do or think about is all about I'm going to get something from it. So as much as she will hold you to account, it's actually building accountability in yourself too. My quality of life now is on a different spectrum. I had no idea just on how unhappy I was about 7 years ago. Now I can see all aspects of my life are in balance. I love my job, I love my home life, and I love the fact that every challenge that I come up against now, I feel like I can tackle, even at those times where I'm feeling a little bit apprehensive about what's to come. My career leading up to working with Katie-Jeyn, it wasn't so much obvious frustrations at the time. It's only now in hindsight that I've actually been able to identify really what the frustration was and the need for change. I had just moved into a project role leading the implementation of a major safety initiative across a mining organisation, and there'd been a change in leadership. I was increasingly frustrated in not being able to, I guess, articulate myself. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. I didn't know how to drive a train, and I was surrounded by a lot of people who did have that experience. So at that point in time, I decided it was time for a change and managed to somehow convince my husband that it would be a good idea for us both to quit our jobs and travel around Australia. And about 5 months into our trip around Australia, we're travelling up the Stuart Highway towards Darwin, and out of nowhere we were T-boned by a station vehicle which can open to the side of our caravan. We spent 3 months in Darwin waiting for repairs and had the best time experiencing new things. Found a job within a week working as a project manager in a non-for-profit agency, and I ended up spending almost 3 years in that company. So about 2 years into my journey in the non-for-profit agency is when I reconnected with Katie-Jeyn. We went through a bit of a period of time where I really wasn't very committed. Some of what we were uncovering together was quite confronting and really had to make me assess what I wanted and be prepared to make changes. So there was a period of time where we actually stopped working together, and probably about 2 months after that I went on a trip and got really sick. Atypical pneumonia, and spent 2 weeks in hospital and 2 months off work recuperating. I remember one of the first things that Katie-Jeyn had said to me after I recovered was, "This is the shake that you need to do something different." I think that's at that point when I really committed to the executive coaching program and decided that this was my chance to stop blaming everybody else for things not going right in my career and taking control and working with it. That was in April 2016, and since then I've been dedicated to the program and holding myself accountable to making the changes that I needed to accelerate my career. I think the coaching program has touched on every element of my life. I know when I really committed to the program, I wasn't in a very happy space. I wasn't enjoying my work. There were aspects of my relationship that were suffering. My friendships were suffering. And I know that I wasn't being the best version of myself. I've learned in hindsight that there's been a pattern through my entire career that I've been in that sabotage mode where I've ended up feeling frustrated, which in turn leads me to becoming a victim, and it's everybody else's fault that my career's not progressing or things aren't going the way that they wanted to. And back then I didn't know that there was a pattern. I actually didn't know that there was anything wrong. My first response was to look for a new job. or to run away and go travelling around Australia. The biggest win for me is actually breaking that cycle. The results from that are that within the last 18 months I've had 2 promotions. I'm an executive. I have increased my salary by over $50,000. And for the first time in my life, when I'm confronted with conflict or reach a hurdle, I don't run away or don't start looking at the CCADs. I actually call Katie-Jeyn and work out, right, how am I going to tackle this? From my personal experience, what I see of Katie-Jeyn is that she gets to know her clients. She has an ability to get to the crux of the issues very, very quickly. It's almost like a sixth sense or a perception. She's able to diagnose what's wrong. She doesn't tell you what you want to hear to make you feel better, but she helps me find the answers. What differentiates her is that energy, it's the accountability, it's the confidence that she instills. They're the reasons that 3.5 years later I'm still on the executive program, and every day there's a new challenge, and it doesn't matter what that is. I know that if I need help, I'll be able to pick up the phone and Katie-Jeyn will help me work through it. I would recommend Katie-Jeyn to anyone. In fact, I regularly do. But I think what's most important is, as I mentioned, I have always been identified as a high performer. I wish I'd known back then, before I started working with Katie-Jeyn, is that even high performers need a coach. And even if you think you've got all of the answers, she just notches it up to the next level. And I can't even begin to think what my career would have been like if I'd started coaching with her earlier. But I'm excited that I am now, and already in the 3 years that I've been doing it, I've achieved amazing results.